All right, let's talk about a 4 point scale, using a 4 point scale. And honestly, this one is very, very similar to ditching the zero. It's basically a way to ditch the zero, a very specific way to do it. And as you can see on the graph here that I have, you are equally weighting, when you use a 4 point scale, you're equally weighting each of the letter grades. So that way there's not all this emphasis put on the F. It's just equally weighted, right? So the 4 point scale, and there are many ways to write these up. This is just the way that I do it, but a 4 is an exceeds expectations, 3 is meets expectations, 2 is nearing, 1 does not meet, clearly does not meet, and a 0 is, or an incomplete, is no evidence for meeting, or no evidence of anything. Like, we just didn't turn that test in. Um, and what I like about this is it's a relatively simple form of a grade, right? So it's not all these delineations. It's bias resistant because it's not about like how much better than good are you, or how much f-titude do you have in it, how much failure do you have in this. It is much more clear to a student or parent, because there are definitely people who will say like, I don't know exactly what an A, a B, a C, a D means, or what the F means in that grade book, because it sometimes it does mean a lot of different things, right? It can mean a lot of different pieces in there. So when you say you are meeting expectations on this particular concept, then it's really clear as to how the student is doing, or just meeting expectations in general, or not meeting. Then you have to go into depth on that one. Takes care of that ditch the zero strategy. As we mentioned, it's basically the same thing. And so that's really helpful. And then is a move toward that standards proficiency grading model, which is something that does take a lot of time to do standards model. But this is a way you can start grading right now and actually start to get in that mindset. And it's really, really helpful. All right. So, what does it look like practically speaking? Most people, again, this does not have to be the case, but this is how most people will run it. Is that a 4 or exceeding expectations means like the equivalent of a letter grade A, 3 is a B, 2 is a C, 1 is a D, and then 0 or incomplete is an F or a no pass. And I think it's really important in the beginning for you and for your students and your parents to have this little translation code to it. And so there's nothing wrong with putting an A, B, C, D at the end of it. Ideally, we want to get rid of it. Eventually, we want to go away from letters altogether. I realize they're probably here for quite a while, but the idea is to have students understand that they're meeting expectations, and that's what a B means, is meeting expectations, and really getting that point across to them. But if you happen to have a gradebook that allows you to do standards based grading, then you can use these scales interchangeably within your gradebook. And that's pretty nice. Generally speaking, it's not too hard. It will definitely force you to figure that out, right? The first time you do it, you're going to have to figure that out. And hopefully, there's somebody in your district who knows how to do it. If not, and you are working in Lane County, you can call me up and I'll help you figure it out. Even if you're not in Lane County, I'll do my best to help you figure it out if you can do this kind of thing. Um, but you do need to spend a little time digging in, trying to figure out how to get these kind of, instead of A, B, C, D showing up, exceeds, meets, nearing. Many grade books do not, and so if that is going to be the case for you, what most people do is they just change their grade scale, just like you do with get rid of the zero. If you want to change that grade scale, 0 to 19 is that 0 or incomplete. Incomplete is the best, by the way, but it is a little harder. That typically does take a little more work, and the way incompletes work is if you don't finish a test. Let's say you don't do one of the tests, and you get an incomplete because you don't have anything on there. That means your whole grade is incomplete. Because as a teacher, if I don't have a grade for that, I don't actually know where you're at yet. So I can't give you a grade until you finish that test. And let me tell you, that is painful for students. They do not like seeing their grade go from an A or a B or a C to an incomplete, because it's like, well, what are you talking about? Like, well, get that test done and then we can get that grade updated. So that one tends to be a big motivator for students. Maybe a little stressful, but it does tend to motivate. And then if you wanted to take it to the next level, and this is hard for a lot of people, especially students who are high achievers, who see themselves as quote unquote A students, But if you can get rid of the exceeds expectations and just have meet, near meet, does not meet, incomplete, that simplifies your grading. Are they meeting? Are they not meeting? Are they close to meeting? Are they not meeting at all? Like, that simplifies that. And you could even go more extreme and just have meets, does not meet. That's it. Well, what about those students who want to go above and beyond and go do extra great stuff? Awesome. But, maybe that's not the most important thing. I don't think we're there yet. I'm not sure I'm there yet, but it's something for me to think about and strive for. So that's that. Dealing with pushback. Definitely, just like with ditching the zero, you're going to feel some pushback. There's going to be some I don't understands, right, from students in particular, like, I don't get what you're talking about. That's where it's helpful to have those letter grades to correspond. So 4 is an A, 3 is a B, so on and so forth. So the students can start understanding it. And the phrase that I would keep using with students is, remember, I want you to learn. The grade is about telling you where you're at in the learning, and you can always improve. So keep pushing to meet expectations on all standards or all concepts. Some teachers will say this is harder to grade. It's harder to grade this way. And it definitely is in the beginning because it's hard to wrap your head around what's going on. But in the long run, it's actually faster because you have fewer differentiations. You don't have 10 gradations. You only have basically 5 or 4 gradations. If you count the 0, then it's a 5. And so then you're really just picking between one of those. So it actually goes faster in the long run. And lots of us have graded on a 4 or 5 point scale in the past. Again, this is just making it easier for students or to pass or dumbing it down. And, it's true. It does make it easier for students to pass. But that is the point. The point is that we want students who have historically not passed our classes to start feeling like maybe they have a shot at it. Maybe just in this class with these weird grading schemes, maybe I have a reason to even try in the first place. So yes, it absolutely is trying to make it easier, especially for those students who are struggling the most. So that's the point. That is equitable grading. The idea is to get more students to pass. Well, how beautiful would it be if everybody in your class passed, right? I mean, how gorgeous would that be? So, all right, so that one. Again, make your reflections. And again, you don't have to follow these reflection questions. If you have a different question, if you have a different thought process, or you really want to push back in a certain way, feel free in that discussion board in Canvas. If you're in the class, if you're doing the course, then feel free to put your pushbacks in. I'd love to hear why you're pushing, why you think this might not work. It'd be great. Let's start that discussion. All right. Take care, everybody. See you in the next video.